Guys, it's Dale here. In this video I want to show you my all-time most favorite trading setup. As you might know, I trade with volume profile, VWAP, order flow, as well as price action, but if I had to pick just one best thing for you to learn, then this would be it. So let me first do a little drawing of the setup, and then I'll show you examples on live charts and talk about all the details and tricks so you can start using this right away. Let me first talk about the bullish scenario of the setup. So what you need to see on the chart, and by the way this works with all time frames and also all trading instruments. I prefer a 30-minute time frame and forex, but you can do this on anything you want. So the bullish scenario goes like this. You need to see a strong trend, and within the trend you need to see a significant heavy volume zone. Let's say that the heavy volume zone is in here, right in the middle of the trend. Now you also need to see that the price was reacting to this level before. It could be something like this. So this is what you need to see. And what this is telling you is that basically this level was a resistance in the past because the price made that reaction here, right? To that level in the past. Then the price went past the level, past that resistance, creating that heavy volume zone or heavy volume cluster. And then you just need to wait for pullback to that level again. This level turned from resistance into new support at the time when the price blew past it, right? So this is a new support, and that's a support you want to trade. So you wait for pullback, and then when the price hits the support, you go long. All right, this is how it is supposed to look like. So there are two conditions. First condition is that heavy volume zone formed within a trend. The second condition is that there was a strong reaction to that level where the heavy volumes were in the past. So this was a resistance, and that turned into a support. And you trade that support. Alright, so that's the bullish scenario. Now, the bearish scenario is the same, it is only reversed. So you need to see a strong downtrend with heavy volumes formed within the downtrend. Let's say that the heavy volumes were formed in here, and you need to see that the price was reacting to this place in the past. Let's say something like this, right? So this is telling you that this level in the past was a support, right? Because the price reacted to that level before, and then the price blew past that support in here, creating those heavy volumes. And when the price blew past that support, that means that the support turned into resistance. So this is what you need to see in the chart, and then you wait for a pullback, and if it occurs, then you go short from that resistance. And this is it. This is the bearish scenario. Now let me show you a couple of examples on the real chart. So in this example, there's a bearish scenario. You can notice that there's a strong downtrend here, and within the downtrend, there's a significant heavy volume zone in here. Now here's an important thing. You need to use volume profile, which is able to look into specific areas of the chart. I call it flexible volume profile. It's one of the profiles which I developed and which you can get from my website. It is important to use the flexible profile so you can look just into the trend area. If you, for example, used daily or weekly volume profiles, then they would also show you volumes you are not interested in, because you are interested only in the volumes that formed within the trend zone, right? So back to the example. Here is the trend with a significant volume zone, and here is the place where the price reacted to that level in the past. Now I like to place the level, as you can see on the blue line here, at the beginning of the heavy volume zone, right? So this is the beginning of that heavy volume zone. This is the resistance. And before that, before it became a resistance, it was a support, right? In here, the price made a strong reaction to this place. So it was a support in the past, then the price blew past the support, creating those heavy volumes, and then the level became a resistance. So as I was saying, I like to place the level at the beginning of the heavy volume zone, which is in here, and this is the resistance. You just wait for the pullback and go short from there. Alright, so this is the bearish scenario. Now let me show you the bullish scenario. In here, you have an uptrend, and you use the flexible volume profile over the uptrend. So you look into this specific area. As you can see, there are many volume clusters, but which one to pick? Which one to trade from? You want to trade from the volume cluster that has that confluence I was showing you, where the price was reacting to in the past. In here we have 2 reactions, which is even better than 1. So we have 2 reactions, and that is telling us that this level was a resistance in the past, or somewhere around this level, this general area, right? And then it became a support. We have that heavy volume cluster here, somewhere around the place where there was that resistance, and then you just wait for a pullback. So you wait. It doesn't really matter if it's a couple of days. Markets have very good memory, so you just wait and then you go long from there. As you can see, the volume cluster here, this one, the one I picked, is not particularly strong, but what adds strength to this volume cluster is the fact that there were those reactions, right? That it was a resistance in the past. That's why I picked this one. And another thing I wanted to mention here is that when you have this combo, this setup, which is made of combo of 2 trading setups, actually a volume profile setup and a price action setup, when the price hits my level, I don't really need to see any confirmation around this level. You can just jump in as soon as the price hits that level, because those combos are very, very strong levels to trade from, and for that reason I don't really need to see a confirmation there. In vast majority of cases, that is. Alright, so here's another example. This is a bearish scenario. We have a downtrend, and within the downtrend you can see that there's a significant volume cluster. Not as significant as the other volume clusters, which sometimes are stronger, but this one is actually better level than the rest of them, because the price was reacting to this zone in the past. And notice that the price overshot that level. So I'm talking about zones, not exact level. I'm talking about zones. So this zone worked as a support in the past. Not an exact level, but this zone, that's enough. And then it turned into a resistance when the price blew past that level. So this is a resistance, and the level is placed at the beginning of this heavy volume cluster, which is in here. When you see multiple reactions, like here, this is always good. 3 is very good confirmation, but even 1 is good, but 3 is better, obviously. Now, another thing that I really like to see with this setup, if you look back into that trend area, is after the volume cluster gets formed, I like to see the trend continue aggressively, like in this case, right? Because I want to see the determination and strength of the sellers pushing the price into that trend some more. Alright, so this also helps seeing that aggressivity after heavy volumes got formed. Now in this case we have a bearish scenario, there is a downtrend, and if you look with the volume profile into that downtrend zone, then in this case the volume cluster really stands out, and the level is the beginning of that volume cluster. And if you look in here, the price was reacting to that level in the past. In this case, those reactions, there were multiple of them, but the reactions weren't too strong. Now this setup is good to trade even if the support was sort of weaker, like this. It still becomes a resistance and it is still viable to trade, but I personally prefer seeing those reactions bigger, like in the previous examples, right? But this is still valid. I still take such trades. So again, when you see this, when you see the volume cluster, the price reacting here, then you draw the level, wait for the pullback and go short from there. Ideally from the beginning of that heavy volume cluster. And again, as you can see, there's that aggressive sell-off, a sign of strength of the sellers who are determined to push the price downwards. Because it is those sellers who appear in here at the time of the pullback and start pushing the price downwards again, right? You are waiting for those sellers who are active here, who you can see on the volume profile. You are waiting for them, and in here it is those sellers that should help pushing the price downwards. And the strength of the sellers, you can see that if you look at the volumes and at the strength of the setting activity, and also at the strength of the level which they had to push through before. Here's another example. We have a downtrend. In this case, the volume cluster within the trend is very nicely visible. It is this one. And as you can see in here, the price didn't really reach that level, that resistance level I want to trade from. But it doesn't matter, because as I was saying, this is about zones. So this was a support zone in the past, not exactly the level which I picked, but the general area was a support in the past. That's what this rejection is telling us, that this zone was a support. And then the price blew past the support, turning the support into a resistance. And you place the level based on the volumes at the beginning of that heavy volume zone. Now here is another example, a very nice bullish scenario. There's this uptrend zone. Notice that I only used the volume profile over this thin area of the chart, and this is the heavy volume zone formed within the uptrend. And if you look a bit to the left, you can see that this level or this zone worked as a resistance because the price made this strong reaction to it. So it was a resistance which later turned into a support. You wait for the pullback and go long from there, from the beginning of that volume cluster. Alright, so now I think that I covered all the details and all the rules which I wanted to cover, and I have a couple of more examples. So let me just show you, so this whole setup becomes crystal clear for you and you can start using it right away. So in this case we have this uptrend. There's a heavy volume zone within the uptrend. When you see this, you also want to see that the price was reacting in here before. So it was a resistance turning into support. You wait for the pullback, and when the price reaches that support, you go long from there, from the beginning of that heavy volume cluster. Or if there's a fair value gap, which is concept from smart money trading, you can also place the level at the start of the fair value gap. But it should always align with the volume profile, like here. It should be close to the beginning of the heavy volume zone. All right. So on to the next example. This is a bullish scenario. There's a steep uptrend. This volume cluster formed within the uptrend. The price made a reaction to this level, not exactly to the level, it turned a little bit sooner, but you already know that this is all about zones. So this was a resistance zone in the past, and that resistance turned into support. Then there was pullback to the support and a reaction. Now, one more thing which I haven't mentioned yet is that once a support is tested, like in here, you don't want to trade it again. So even though there was another pullback and another successful test, you don't trade this because it is spent, and in this case it has been spent in here with this reaction, right? After that, you need to find a new level to trade from. Alright, so this is the last one. In here we have this downtrend zone and this significant volume cluster within the downtrend. The price was bouncing off that level in the past, so it was a support. The price made a nice and sharp reaction in here, and it doesn't really matter that it was a couple of days ago, it's still fine. So there was this sharp reaction and also this one in here. So there were those two reactions telling me that this was a support. Then the sellers pushed through that support with all those volumes you can see here in that volume cluster. You wait for a pullback, and because this support turned into a resistance, you go short. And that's about it. So I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you found the setup interesting. I think it is quite easy to use, and I definitely recommend giving it a try. And if you guys would like to get your hands on my custom-made volume profile or other trading indicators, then go over to my website. It is at trader-dale.com, and if you click this button which says Trading Course and Tools, then it will take you to this page where you can browse my trading education and custom-made indicators. Right now I'm running a special Halloween sale where you can get all the education and indicators massively discounted. It is the volume profile pack focusing on volume profile trading, the order flow pack focusing on day trading with order flow, and the newest one, the VWAP pack, which will teach you everything about VWAP trading. Below that there's a special combo where you can get all the 3 packs together with all the tools, indicators and everything they include for one massively discounted price. Alright, so thanks for watching the video, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time, and until then, happy trading.